Now, some employers are making the lives of their employees a lot worse during the lockdown. Salaries are being slashed, but employers are allegedly not even trying to apply for government relief. Let's find out why now. We're joined by SA Payroll Association's Arlene Leggat via Skype. Thank you very much for joining us. It would appear that there's a trust deficit where the employer relief scheme is concerned. Why are employers reluctant?
I think the reality is that when the system was first implemented, when it was rolled out, it was done quite quickly, understandably so, that it's not like they had time to do anything about it. And there were hiccups. There were a lot of hiccups. People had problems submitting their files and they weren't getting the money. And I think it just created a sense of why bother? Why should we actually go through all this effort? Because it can be quite onerous and we have nothing at the end of the day. And I think that's what caused a little bit of the problem about employers not doing the claim.
It can be quite onerous, as you mentioned, but the consequences for employees could be very much far-reaching. Whose responsibility is it to make sure that the applications are actually followed through with?
It is the employer. It is 100% the employer's role to actually do this. As an employee, you are not in a position to apply. You can't initiate the process. You can't submit anything to UIF for a COVID TERS benefit. It has to originate from the employer. They have to create the file and they have to submit it through to TERS. So it is up to them to make sure it's submitted, followed through, and that the money is actually paid out.
In the absence of that, what recourse do employees have?
Well, it's very hard. You know, we can say go to the Department of Labour. They're dealing with so much at the moment. So chances that they're going to get to you in a hurry are slim. But I think your very first protocol has to be your company. You have to go to them and say, why are you not doing this? It is beneficial to the employer and the employee because it takes that pressure off the employer to have to pay their employees. It's a benefit that is there. I do not see why we are not using it. So I think your first protocol as an employee is to make sure that you've spoken to your employer and you understand why they're not doing it or what their reason is, what their logic is.
In trying to find out what the reason or the logic is, could it be that perhaps there's some ignorance? Who can claim? Maybe some people don't know who can claim.
No, honestly, there's been so much information about this in the media, and there are people to contact who, if you're not sure. Any company who is financially distressed and unable to pay their employees their full salaries due to COVID-19. So that needs to be the purpose. That needs to be the reason that you have this problem. If you cannot pay your employees, then you submit a claim. It's that simple. There have been some issues around employers getting files back saying your employee is not registered. We are not 100% sure what's causing that, but somehow it seems to be linked to your U-filing. So on a monthly basis, when you pay your payroll and you pay your employees and you deduct UIF, you are expected to submit a file to UIF, which is then uploaded into their system. It appears that there might be a bit of a disconnect between what you're sending and what's being uploaded into their system, and so some of your employees are not actually reflected on their system. So there are hiccups, make no mistake, there are some issues. But fundamentally, everybody who is not able to pay their employees 100% of their salary need to submit a claim.
It's quite a very, very difficult situation. Is there any sort of consequences for companies that do not claim for their employees?
No, there isn't. It's not something that is enforced by law. It's not legislated that you have to. It is a benefit that is offered. But so no, legally there's absolutely no consequence. But once again, I say I don't understand why you would put your employees into financial distress when you actually did not need to do that.
South African Payroll Association Director Arlene Leggat, thank you very much for your time.